Okay, let's talk about one of the most stressful things we all go through, the job interview. But what if you could walk into that room not with your stomach in knots, but with a solid, confident game plan? Well, that's exactly what we're going to build right now. We're going to break down how to turn that interview stress into your biggest strength. You know the feeling, right? You've practiced, you know your stuff inside and out, but then they hit you with a tough question and poof, your mind just goes completely white. It's probably the single biggest fear people have about interviews, and today we're going to make sure it doesn't happen to you. And here's the thing that changes the entire game. The problem isn't that you don't know the answers, you do. The real battle is happening inside your own head. It's that panic, that fight or flight response that just hijacks your brain right when you need it the most. So that's exactly where we have to start. Before you even think about what you're going to say, you have to get your own mindset right. Part one is all about winning that inner game, because honestly, that's the foundation for everything else. I really love this idea of constraint focus. Think of it like this. Your brain is full of all this great knowledge and experience, but panic creates a bottleneck. It chokes off the flow. So the most important thing we can do isn't to cram more knowledge in, it's to get rid of that bottleneck. If you solve for the stress, the answers you already have will just flow. So how do you actually do that when you're sitting in the hot seat? Try this, the 3-3-3 nerves rule. It is so simple, but it works. First, 3 deep breaths. This literally calms your nervous system down. Then take a 3-second pause before you answer any question. It feels like an eternity to you, but it just makes you look thoughtful and it stops you from rambling. And finally, 3 sips of water. It's a perfect natural excuse to take a little break. This keeps your body calm and your mind sharp. All right, so you've got your nerves handled. Now we can start thinking about strategy. In part two, we're going to craft your story by building a small but really powerful arsenal of stories you can use. Now listen, you can forget about memorizing answers to 50 different potential questions. That's a recipe for disaster. The real secret, just prepare 3. That's it, 3 core stories. This makes your prep so much easier and, believe it or not, makes you way more flexible. And here's the magic of why this works. These 3 stories, one about a project you worked on, one about a big success, and one about a tough challenge you overcame, they basically become your Swiss Army knife. You can pull them out and adapt them on the spot to answer a huge chunk of the questions they're going to throw at you. Now, to make sure those stories really hit home, you need a good structure. And that's where the STAR method comes in. It's classic for a reason. It just makes your stories so clear and powerful. You start with a situation, just set the scene, then the task, what was your goal? Next, the action, what did you specifically do? And you always finish with the result. What was the outcome? What did you achieve? Okay, so you've won the inner game, you've got your story arsenal ready to go. Now it's time to put it all into action. Let's talk about mastering the actual conversation and how to absolutely nail the most common and, let's be honest, the trickiest questions. All right, the classic opener. So tell me about yourself. The biggest mistake people make here is just listing their resume. Don't do that. What you want is a short, punchy snapshot. Give them a quick professional summary, then hit them with one of your standout achievements, and this is key. Connect it all back to why you are so excited about this role right here, right now.
Next up, you know it's coming, the strengths question. How do you answer this one without sounding like you're bragging or just totally generic?
The secret here is all about relevance and proof. Don't just say, I'm a hard worker. No. Look at the job description, pick a strength they are clearly looking for, and then prove it with a quick story, or even better, a number. Something like, I'd say one of my key strengths is data analysis. In my last project, I actually used that to uncover a trend that boosted our team's efficiency by 15%. See? So much better. And of course, you have to be ready for its evil twin, the weakness question. This is where so many people trip up. Look, the goal here is to show that you're self-aware and that you're committed to getting better. So pick a real weakness, but obviously not one that's a deal breaker for the job. Acknowledge it, and then immediately explain what you're doing to work on it. This flips a potential negative into a huge positive about your drive and initiative. We're coming into the home stretch now, and this is probably the most overlooked part of any interview. This is where the whole dynamic changes. It's the power shift, where you get to take control by asking smart questions. You have to remember this. An interview is not an interrogation. It's a conversation. You are interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you.
When you ask really thoughtful questions, it signals that you're not just desperate for any job, you're looking for the right one. It instantly changes you from just another candidate into a serious, engaged professional.
So, what kinds of questions should you ask? Well, hold off on the salary and vacation questions for now. Ask things that show you're already thinking about how you can succeed in the role. Asking about the first 90 days, that shows you want to make an impact immediately. Asking about company growth, that shows you're thinking long term. And that last one is clutch. Is there anything I can clarify? It's the perfect way to address any last-minute doubts they might have about you. Wow, okay, we've covered a ton of ground here. So let's pull it all together into one simple final game plan you can carry with you into that next interview. It really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, win the inner game. Use that 3-3-3 rule so you can stay calm and think straight. Second, craft your narrative. Get those 3 powerhouse star stories ready to go. And third, master the conversation. Handle the common questions and then show your value by asking smart ones back. That's it. That's how you ace an interview. So I'll leave you with this one question to get you moving. Forget everything else for a second and just think, what is your single best story? The one about a project, a success, or a challenge that really shows who you are and what you can do. Figure that one out first, and trust me, you're already halfway there.